Championship. We overlook the Sachsenring, where we will kick off a whole new era of this category. For the first time, the Sidecar World Championship is being promoted by IDM, the team behind the German Motorcycle Racing Championships. And what better way to start a new season of sidecar competition than right here at the Sachsenring, a circuit with such prestige, such a fabulous lineage in motorcycle racing. Of course, a markedly different layout from what we would have seen decades prior when this was a road circuit, but nonetheless still an incredible facility. Of course, the German Motorcycle Grand Prix held here annually. We've already seen our pole sitters there on the grid. It's only the Birchells, of course. The Birchall family always goes strongly, and the brothers from Mansfield on pole position for this first race. There you see the crew from Rolf Steinhausen joining the grid on the front row. Rolf Steinhausen, of course, a two-time world champ himself, three-time TT winner, and the team of Harrison Payne, and Kevin Rousseau surely going to be strong here. Of course, Harry Payne, fairly new to this whole driving lark when it comes to sidecar competition, was previously a passenger, the English-born competitor who is very much an adopted Manxman at this stage, a favourite for this season, and starting off with a very good qualifying performance on the front row. The Christies on row 2, the 34. That, of course, being Sam and Tom Christie. 3 Christies total on the grid. Of course, Adam acting as passenger on the 70. Father Simon raced for a long time as well, but Sam and Tom Christie there on that second row, they will be a strong combination. That much is for certain. Alongside them on the second row will be another team I think have to be weighed up as favourites, Stephen Kershaw and Ryan Charlwood. Kershaw, of course, a former British Championship. They've never run at the Sachsenring. That goes for a few of our duos in this race, but third in last year's World Championship and won a race. We're on the last race of the year, among others, on the Quattro Plant machine. Of course, in terms of the machinery that we have here, it's all Yamahas except for the pole sitter, LCR and ARS chassis, but all Yamaha motors aside from the Birchells, who are running a Honda. There is the champion outfit then on the third row of the grid, Ellis and Clement, Todd Ellis and Emmanuel Clement on the third row of the grid. They will be favourites, of course, returning to the series. Interestingly, not taking that number 1 plate, despite being champions. And Emmanuel following in the footsteps of Kirsi Keinulainen as a sidecar passenger, female sidecar passenger, taking the world title. Of course, Keinulainen, the first to achieve that back in 2016. They also took the British title last year and kicked off their title defence in the UK a few weeks ago. The Peugeots on the third row with them then. The French duo will be looking to start this season off well on the number 74, Ted, the son of Vincent Peugeot. And we look forward to seeing how they perform here. Of course, we've got the Reeves number 77. Would it be a sidecar race without the Reeves name? Tim Reeves on the 77. Along with Mark Wilkes. Of course, Wilkes was there for his most recent world title in 2019 as passenger. Tim Reeves has also taken the world title with brother Tristan, with Patrick Farrant, Ashley Hawes, who is on the grid here today, and Gregory Cluse, as well as Mark Wilkes. Tim Reeves, one of many 8-time world champions across FIM competition. Of course, some bloke called Marquez is an 8-time world champion, isn't he? As well as Thomas Charrere in the FIM Supermoto Championship. 8 is a good number to have, it seems. The 21 machine of Stroyer and Kulsch. Benny Stroyer, of course, has been racing sidecars since 2007. Won the 2015 world title with Geert Kurtz, but has the German Kevin Kulsch as his passenger this time around. Benny's father, a 3-time world champion, Egbert Stroyer, won the world title from 1984 till 1986, also winning the 85 title, of course. And Kevin moved on to that passenger seat in 2022, moving on from the Schwegler Team 11 outfit. There is the 35, Josef Sattler and Luca Schmidt. Sattler is a 4-time IDM champion, so a 4-time German champion approaching his 58th birthday. Luca Schmidt is just 20, the youngest ever passenger champion in the German series. They've had to fight Tim Reeves hard in the last 2 years in the IDM championship, and that battle will no doubt carry over into the FIM Sidecar World Championship. There is the 44, Pekka Palvarinta and Ilse de Haas. Another dual nationality combination. Palvarinta, the Finn, along with the Dutch de Haas. Of course, Palvarinta, a 5-time world champion, and the driver that took Kirsi Kenalainen to her female world championship, her history-making world championship in Sidecar in 2016. Kenalainen was the first female world champion in any FIM competition outside of gender-segregated competition. I'm sure Ilse de Haas has ambitions to help Pekka Palvarinta to a 6th world title. That would certainly be exciting to see. Lots of familiar faces then on this grid, lots of competitive duos on this grid. We have, I believe, a grid of 18 taking the start this time. This is the Gertlich-Krieg combination on the 42. Lennart Gertlich and Lucas Krieg. Gertlich based in Saxony, so Sachsenring very much the local circuit. The average age of that team, the Bonovo junior team, just 19 years of age. Does that make you feel old? It makes me feel old. Birchall and Birchall then on the pole with Payne and Rousseau and the Christies alongside. Of course, these are showing 3x3, but it is 2x2, we believe, for this start. So Christie and Christie, Kershaw and Charlwood on the second row, Ellis and Clement and the Peugeots on row 3. That is our top 6 for what will be an 11-lap sprint race. Then it's the Reeves-Wiltz combination, the 77 alongside Stroyer and Kolsch, the 21, Sattler and Schmidt, the 35, and Palvarinta and de Haas on the 44. 11th and 12th places, Gertlich and Krieg, and Holden and Hawes, the 42 and the 10 respectively. And then our next rows, the 55 of Remsi and Wechselberger, Archer and Christie on the 70, so that's the other Christie family member, the 3rd brother on the grid. Zimmerman and Mahl on the 33, Cable and Richardson on the 111, Kim Svenger on the 11, along with Sedlacek and Vinet and Darras rounding out the 18 that will take the start for this one. Formation lap about to get started. And before we start, let's hear from our partners.
Fahrspaß pur und ab sofort. 4 Jahre Garantie auf alle neuen Kawasaki Straßenmotorräder in Deutschland. Auf zum Kawasaki Vertragspartner. Dort findet ihr das richtige Motorrad. Garantiert.
So then the warm-up lap, the formation lap ongoing here as we get ready for this Superside Sprint race, kicking off the 2023 Sidecar World Championship, the FIM Sidecar World Championship run this year by IDM. New promoters found over the winter. An exciting place to kick off the season, of course. Very much staying on mainland Europe this year, taking visits to the Czech Republic and many other very much motorcycle-heavy nations on our 2023 calendar. I'm sure that calendar will only expand in years to come. And the Sachsenring, of course, a circuit that's very much left-hand predominant. And on cars, that often means the left side tyres are compromised. And obviously, we've got 2 lefts and only 1 right on these sidecars. So I imagine that especially in the longer race, we might see some traction issues towards the end of the race. So then 11 laps on the scoreboard as anticipated. It is the Birchals on pole position. We await the green lights here. Ben and Tom Birchall. Ben, of course, initially a passenger before becoming a driver in 2003. 10-time TT winners, 4-time world champions. They are on pole position, but alongside them, the formidable duo, the 45 of Payne and Rousseau. Looks like Rousseau and Payne have got the best start down towards the first corner. Let's see if Harry Payne has the lead. Yes, Payne in the lead. Oh, and a bit of a moment there between a couple of them. Oh, I think that was the 34 getting into it there. Sam and Tom Christie tagged the rear of the Birchals and then almost collected those behind as well. But thankfully, everybody has made it through the first corner, it seems. The Birchals then lead the way. Payne and Rousseau just behind as they circulate for the first time. Oh, but we've got damage or an issue for Kershaw and Charlwood on the 29. That is not the start to the season that we wanted to see for that outfit. Stephen Kershaw, Ryan Charlwood started up there at the sharp end of the order, and look at this, already making a move. There go the Birchals. Well, that didn't take long, did it? Reclaiming the pole position that they had after qualifying. Ben and Tom Birchall were the better part of half a second up in quali, and it's taken them less than a lap to reclaim that lead over Payne and Rousseau. Harry Payne won't take that lying down. He's only been a sidecar driver since 2020. Made his debut in the Isle of Man TT sidecar race last year and certainly exceeded expectations. We've got a side-by-side for third place there. Who is that trying to make a way through? It's Ellis and Clement, of course. Well, Ellis and Clement on the number 6, our defending champs, trying to get around the Reeves, number 77. Reeves and Wilkes with a good start then. They've got themselves up into third place at the start in the Bodovo Action number 77 machine. You can hear them struggling for traction there. Just a little bit out of some of these corners. There's so many left-hand bends. The passengers spend most of their time dangling off the left-hand side of the machine. Let's see whether we can see a podium for our defending champs then. Season's already started fairly well in the UK for Ellis and Clement. Todd Ellis, of course, will be looking to defend that title along with Emmanuel. And they currently run in 4th place behind Tim Reeves, the 8-time world champion, as well as Mark Wilkes. But the leader for now coming across the line. Let's see what the gap is between the Birchals and the Payne Rousseau 45. 1.4 seconds is the answer. That's a solid gap. The last lap for them was a 28.4, which is very close indeed to qualifying pace. That is mightily impressive. And in, another front runner in, the 34. Oh, that's such a shame. We've lost two front runners at the very start. The 34, of course, belonging to Sam and Tom Christie. Didn't spot that they'd fallen down the order, but Sam and Tom Christie have very much dropped from the front of contention. That is not the start to the season that team will have wanted. Sam and Tom Christie on their LCR Yamaha, the Hannafin Racing entry. They'll continue to cheer on Rupert Archer and Adam Christie if they can't get back out there, but not the start of the season that they will have wanted. Get the feeling that Ellis and Clement will soon be on the back of Tim Reeves. They drop down the waterfall here, the signature shot of the Sachsenring. What a fabulous facility this is. Feels very much like an old school layout, but of course they only completed this layout in the late 90s and finalized this configuration in 2002. They did a very good job of making it feel like an old school facility, even though it was effectively a new build. Has, of course, played host to the FIM Sidecar World Championship on many occasions previous. Lap 4 of 11, and sure enough, Ellis and Clement are closing in on Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes. Let's see what the pace difference was last time, if we possibly can. It was, well, let's look at the splits, actually. Gaining about a 10th per split, it looks like, Ellis and Clement over Reeves and Wilkes, but saying that through sector split 2, Reeves and Wilkes a little bit quicker. I think that Ellis and Clement weren't entirely happy with how their machine felt after the qualifying sessions. It seems as though the race pace is far better. Through the final corner, huge rise. And it doesn't stop the incline towards the first corner. It feels like it does. It is a steep climb the whole way up, and it's a climb that Ellis and Clement are taking faster. They go to the inside then of Reeves and Wilkes, and is this going to be the move for third place? Lean both right, or both passengers leaning in, but not quite able to get through there, Tom Ellis. Tim Reeves, I think, a little bit braver on the brakes. So Tim Reeves able to hold off Ellis for now. It is a battle between Tim and Todd at the moment. And Todd Ellis has to keep his powder dry for one more lap. It seems as though that first corner is the best overtaking opportunity. Of course, it's the deepest braking zone on the lap. It's not unheard of to see overtakes down after the waterfall as well. Get a good run through this last left-hander and then the jink right downhill. If you get a good run through this turn, you can sometimes launch it to the inside at the following bend, but it's certainly a brave maneuver when it is done. At the front of the order, it is still Ben and Tom Birchall in the lead. The gap has increased to just over 2 seconds. They seem to be managing that gap over Payne and Rousseau. Tim Reeves, though, I don't think managing. He's fighting up against Ellis and Clement, who once again are in the tow as they go towards the first corner. 6 seconds back from the lead, but 3/10 between them in third and fourth place. And does Ellis go to the inside? I don't think a move was about to be made there. Meanwhile, back out on circuit is the number 34. So even though they're a couple of laps down, actually the two Hannafin machines are line astern at the moment and unlapping themselves. So the Christies are at least running, which is good to see. We've also lost the Peugeots in the 74. I think they are in the pits as well, unfortunately. So the 74 racing team also suffering a setback in the early stages. Reeves in the 77 is maintaining this third position. Let's see if once again Ellis and Clement try and set themselves up for a move towards the first corner. That's the most likely place. There are our leaders, the Birchells on the number 16. Have such an impressive resume, do the Birchells. 10-time TT winners, 4-time world champions. Have been doing this as a unit for the better part of 20 years at this stage. Doesn't look like Ellis and Clement are going to have the opportunity to move up the inside Tim Reeves this time. Too far back for now. In 5th place behind them is the Paiva Rinter De Haas Bonovo Action number 44, Stroyer and Kolsch on the 21. In 6th place, Sattler and Schmidt in the 35. Running in 7th. I believe they are the leaders within the German championship kind of subclass here. Registered to score points in the German championship as well. Holden and Hawes on the number 10. John Holden, Ashley Hawes, who took a championship with Tim Reeves, of course. And they run in 8th position at the moment. Gutlick and Craig and the Remzi Wechselberger, number 55, rounding out the top 10. Here is that battle we were just talking about. And in fact, we've had a switch there, haven't we? Because Remzi and Wechselberger had briefly got up into 10th place, but Zimmerman and Mal have just moved back up into P10. So I think they may well have been side by side towards the first corner last time by. Max Zimmerman and Ronja Mal. Ronja's father, Erwin, also a sidecar racer as a driver. Ronja, she is a passenger, formerly Erwin's passenger. Triple one under some pressure there from the 70, so a bit of an all-British battle there as Rupert Archer and Adam Christie were trying to get up the inside of Kevin Cable and Charlie Richardson. Cable, hugely experienced. Charlie Richardson, of course, in 2019 took the British Championship as a passenger. Lap 8 of 11 then, and the clock will be ticking away now in the collective minds of Ellis and Clement. They'll know that time is against them, but of course they know how to win championships as well, and it's not by taking undue risk. Mechanical sympathy, I'd say, also a big part of it, making sure you don't push too far, too hard, too early on. Don't want to give yourselves too much work to do between races. Of course, a longer race on the Sunday here in the FIM Sidecar World Championship. It'll be 3 laps to go when they cross the line this time. Looks like they've got some traffic to contend with there as well. So that could potentially play into the hands of Todd Ellis. A little bit squirrely there, under traction. Again, if you've got 4 wheels, the right side tyres always take the brunt of the load here at the Sachsenring. And that rule very much applies to the sidecars as well. The 45 in 2nd place. It's a fairly quiet race, I would say, for Payne and Rousseau at the moment, but solid points on the board if they can take that 2nd place. I don't think they need to do anything too dramatic to try and close in on Ben and Tom Birchall. Harry Payne and Kevin Rousseau. Payne was quite open about the fact that they didn't necessarily have the fastest machine last year on the world stage, at least towards the end of the season. Looks like the overall package is far more competitive this time. I believe Reeves and Wilkes have covered off the threat now from Todd Ellis and Emmanuel Clement. It seems as though Reeves and Wilkes have built the gap that they need. That being said, it always seems as though Reeves and Wilkes are strong through the middle sectors of the circuit, the plethora of left-handers. But then in this final section that we see the Steinhausen Racing number 45 go through now, it does feel as though Ellis and Clement pick up a little bit more speed. Our intervals then, as we go on to the penultimate lap, it is, of course, the Birchells in the lead. They are in the lead by 7.1 seconds, so they really have disappeared up the road from Payne and Rousseau. Reeves and Wilkes are 11 seconds off the lead, 3.8 back from this duo on the 45. Ellis and Clement on the number 6 are just 1.5 seconds back, so still if there's a slip-up in any way for Reeves and Wilkes, we could see that podium position change hands. Peverinter and De Haas are about 6 seconds off of Ellis and Clement. Stroyer and Kolsch in 6th place are about 9 seconds back from Peverinter and De Haas. The field largely split up at this stage then, with the exception of this battle for 3rd place and the battle for 10th between Remsi and Vexelberger on the Remsi racing machine. Oh, but the Reeves machine has slowed. I was looking at the timing screen. I looked back to the live pictures, and sitting up there was the 77 crew. On the penultimate lap of the race, Tim Reeves experiencing technical issues. And it seems as though they've pulled off completely there on the skid pan on the inside of that corner before the waterfall. Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes look to have that podium sewn up. I thought they'd covered off the threat from Ellis and Clement, and they very much had done. But the poison chalice of mechanical grief has been sipped, unfortunately, by Tim Reeves. Looks like they could be registering a non-finish. Well, Ben and Tom Birchall on the final lap. Just a few moments away from claiming their first win at the first opportunity in the 2023 FIM Sidecar World Championship. Just trying to see if we can see the 77. You can see the yellow flags are out there at the top of the hill before they descend down the waterfall one last time. The number 11 ahead of them on the track there. Ben and Tom Birchall won't be too worried about getting past Peter Kimswenger and Andrzej Sedlacek, but they do so anyway. Ben and Tom Birchall will see the checkered flag and a clear road ahead of them. The 4-time world champions kick off their 2023 efforts with a full haul of points. It's a win in the Superside Sprint. A great start to the campaign for the number 16 team. The Wickham Blackwell by Birchall outfit claim the win. There is the number 6 rounding out the podium then. Ellis and Clement taking unexpected podium behind Harry Payne and Kevin Rousseau, who took 2nd position. 4th across the line, Peverinter and De Haas on the 44. They've crossed the line without any issue, as have Stroyer and Kolsch in 5th place on the Stroyer Racing number 21. Sattler and Schmidt on the 35 Bonovo Action Machine. But our winners, Ben and Tom Birchall. Certainly a familiar sight, certainly not an unexpected sight after their qualifying performance. I'm sure great satisfaction. And of course, a primary title contender in the form of Tim Reeves, along with his passenger Mark Wilkes, registering a non-finish in race number 1 of the season. That is a huge twist in the tail. We thought solid points, a solid result for Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes, but the 8-time world champion will watch Ben and Tom Birchall sidle by from the sidelines. Congratulations, though, to Ben and Tom. They've done it again.
Driven by passion. Driven by perfection. Driven by racing. Gearless, driven by function.
Fahrspaß pur und ab sofort. 4 Jahre Garantie auf alle neuen Kawasaki Straßenmotorräder in Deutschland. Auf zum Kawasaki Vertragspartner. Dort findet ihr das richtige Motorrad. Garantiert.
Once this love has awakened, it will never sleep again. 100% dedication.
So a full haul of 25 points for the brothers Birchall with an almost 10-second advantage crossing the line to take the first win of the 2023 FIM Sidecar World Championship season. A good start to the year, however, for the duo of Harry Payne and Kevin Rousseau. They will be happy with second place. Ellis and Clement start off their title defence with a podium finish in third. Pavarinta and De Haas, the 44, finishing fourth place. Stroyer and Kolsch rounding out our top five ahead of Sattler and Schmidt on the number 35. The duo of John Holden and Ashley Hawes, the evergreen John Holden, finishing seventh place there. My apologies. And just seeing the rest of the order scroll through your screen at the moment, just to round out the top 10. Gertlich and Craig on the 42, finishing 8th, ahead of Remzi and Vechselberger, and the Zimmerman-Mal combination on the 33, finishing in 10th. Archer and Christie on the 17, 11th. Cable and Richardson on the 111 in 12th. And you saw the rest of our finishing order on that graphic on your screen. But certainly, I think some of the riders, some of the drivers and passengers keeping their powder dry a little bit in the first race of the season, because of course they've got a race tomorrow as well. But we'll have a longer race on the Sunday, of course, as is customary. But the Superside Sprint race proving to be as interesting as ever and as fruitful of it as ever for the Birchall family. A huge shame, though, to see Tim Reeves end up in strife there at the end, the 8-time world champion, not having the start to the season that he was hoping for, the start to the season that really felt promised. Just solid riding or solid driving, no problems at all for Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes, right up until the penultimate lap. That is very cruel. Of course, the Superside season wasn't run in 2020. Tim Reeves' most recent title then, just over 2 full seasons ago. It was 2019. Then, of course, 2021 title went to Markus Schlosser. 2022 title going to that number 6 pairing of Todd Ellis and Emmanuel Clement. I'm sure Reeves will come back swinging on Sunday, but not the start that they would have wanted in the slightest. Hopefully not too advanced of a problem. There wasn't billowing smoke or anything, so hopefully nothing has fully expired. But a huge shame to see them come to a halt. Meanwhile, we await the podium. Podium ceremonies will also come with some interview insights from our riders, many of whom were already in discussions down at Parc Fermé. I understand we will have English interviews as well. I believe it might be my friend Lucas Gajewski doing those. But I'm sure that the Birchalls will be sunny side up on this occasion. The Mansfield-based brothers But several teams looking over machines that have let them down, including the number 29 crew, of course. We saw them last, 3 corners? Stephen Kershaw and Ryan Charlwood, not the start that they would have wanted in the slightest. Again, finished the 2022 season with a win at Estoril, the final race of the year. And begin this season by completing just 3 or 4 corners. That is not what they wanted from their beginnings. Strong team, that, of course, with the backing of the Quattro Plant outfit, Kershaw Racing. And I know that Quattro Plant keep a firm eye on Stephen and Ryan's progress, and they'll be disappointed as well. Of course, this new era of the FIM Sidecar World Championship under the custodianship of IDM. IDM also look after the national superbike categories and so on here in Germany, as well as the Dorna-backed Northern Talent Cup. It's a busy weekend here at the Sachsenring. It is being headlined by the FIM Sidecar World Championship along with the German superbikes. They head back to paddock then. I believe our top 3 will be somewhere near a podium. Of course, the Birchells, don't think they took the full season in last year in the FIM sidecars, but always favourites when they show up. A great calendar that we've got this year in the FIM sidecar as well. Very enticing for our competitors. Our next run, of course, will be at Spa-Francorchamps after this weekend. The weekend following that, 2 consecutive weekends, they go to Most in the Czech Republic. The Red Bull Ring, Assen, Oschersleben, and Estoril all await. Now, unfortunately, the tow truck awaits, or the flatbed truck awaits for the 29 crew of Kershaw and Charlwood. Hopefully they don't park it on the grass. Recently saw at Brands Hatch the flatbed get stuck on the grass because it started raining. They had to get a Range Rover to pull it out. These things do happen in motorsport, but the highly efficient marshals here at the Sachsenring, well versed in recovery, to put it lightly. I think we should get our podium interviews momentarily. We are due a few interviews before we get this broadcast completed and move back over to the German feed. You overlook this incredible circuit. It's a fairly compact patch of land that the Sachsenring circuit sits on. Spectacular surroundings as well. On previous visits to the Sachsenring, I've looked at the roads and gone, I cannot imagine how spectacular the road races would have been here 40, 50 years ago. Of course, sidecar racing still very much part of the road racing calendars in the UK and mainland Europe. And good to see fans taking in the FIM Sidecar World Championship. Announced relatively late, of course, the FIM Sidecar World Championship being promoted by IDM. So those that got their tickets early will have got a very welcome bonus indeed when the announcement was made that IDM would be taking over. See the marshals doing their work before the next race. Of course, the Sunday race will be a bit longer And I'm hoping, for the sake of the likes of Kershaw and Charlwood and Reeves and Wilkes, that they can get their machines back out there. I believe we are not going to be able to go to the podiums on this occasion. We'll try and bring you that on Sunday. But as the first race of the FIM Sidecar World Championship for 2023 is consigned to the history books, let's take a look at the highlights of the race.
Die internationale Bühne weltweit hier schon auch bedient haben. Die sind hier am Sachsenring und dann haben wir natürlich auch noch eine deutsche Wertung.
So hearty congratulations as we wrap up this broadcast once again to Ben and Tom Birchall, who take the first win of the 2023 season. And we'll see you again very soon. We'll see you tomorrow for more FIM Sidecar.